Welcome to Blog Talk Radio in high fidelity.
Hello, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Modern Living with Dr. Angela. I'm your host, Dr. Angela Tester. Today we are talking from the situation to the destination. Life can be difficult, and we are faced with daily challenges and concerns, but there is a purpose for our pain. Our spiritual growth is essential in tackling these day-to-day struggles. Not my words, but the words of our author interview today, Leslie Dillard. She will be talking about her new book, From the Situation to the Destination. And you know, listeners, of course, it is available on Amazon. I am always going to have those authors on that make it easy for us to download and get to their product. So let me tell you a little bit about our author. Leslie M. Dillard is a sought-after speaker, spoken word artist, and playwright who is respected and welcomed by many audiences, both nationally and internationally. Captivating audiences with her style and dramatic flair, she develops and presents works to inspire her audiences to dream big and to push to achieve their dreams. A preacher's kid from Alabama, Leslie is always genuine and always serving. Her works have been featured in a myriad of women's leadership and youth conferences, fundraisers, graduations, retirements, and promotion ceremonies, commemorative events, as well as church functions. Wherever she goes, Leslie becomes a local favorite and can be counted on to uplift her audiences. Her writing style and dramatic talents continue to bring fresh air to the world around her. Leslie has served over 30 years in the United States Army as a chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear officer. And not to I know she doesn't want to toot her own horn, but to retire as a colonel, come on, people, we got to give it up to her for that. That is no easy feat. So I'm going to bring on Leslie. Hello, how are you? Thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Angela, for the opportunity to speak with your audience today.
And I want to start off and I want to say, and I know everyone, it seems to be quite cliche or it gets to be old hat, but being a military kid and being having been a military wife, I want to say thank you so much for your service to our country, and thank you for all that you did to make sure that we here back stateside that we are well and we continue to live the lives that we want to live.
I appreciate that. Thank you. It never gets old to me. It's always great to be appreciated in what we do.
Yes. Thank you so much for that. Now, from the situation to the destination. I absolutely love that title. So I know that there's a little bit of a story behind it, but first, if you could tell us a little bit about, in your own words, who is Leslie Dillard?
Oh, wow. I think you captured pretty much who I am. I joined the Army when I was 18, and I am currently still serving, although I will be retiring next year. So I'm excited about what God is going to be doing in this next phase of my life. But I love people. I'm a jokester, so I like to have a lot of fun. And I love kids. The kids at the church always say that I'm the biggest kid in the room. So I won't dispute that fact, but I am probably they're probably on point with that. But I do have a serious side, and the Lord has given me a gift of writing, a talent of spoken word and poetry, and so I have taken that opportunity and those skills to write this book. Although He told me to do it about 7 years ago, and you know how we get. We're going to do things in our own way and our own time. So I just thank God that He didn't close the door on it. So He has sat me down and made me put it together. Amen.
Amen to that, and it is amazing that God has such great patience with us, and boy, do we appreciate it. Because like you said, sometimes we move in our own time, even though we have prayed for something to happen, we still don't move as quickly as we should. But I too am glad that this book was able to come out, and with it, especially with it being a collection of poems. And I love that when it's poetry, you can sometimes just open up a book and just read the page that's in front of you, or you can go to the table of contents and find something that speaks to you. But you have an opportunity each day to kind of experience something that you've experienced, to hear from you in a different way. With that being said, the title is amazing. From Situation to Destination. How did you come up with that title?
Well, actually, that was a download from the Father, and I think He was trying to tell me something personally, simply because there are times in our lives where things happen to us. You may be walking the walk that you should walk, and something terrible happens, a tragedy, or your finances get out of whack, and you look up and you say, why, God? And those times He's trying to grow us, mature us in our relationship with Him. But I would tell you, for me, probably 99.9% of the time is the mess I got myself into. Because I was disobedient. And so I just wanted to, it seemed like the Lord was telling me, look, you need to share what I've given you in the way of poetry. Now, poetry has been something that I've been writing for a long time. And you never think that anybody wants to read what you write. And so that has been this has really been a confidence booster for me. But when I got into trouble, or I was feeling down, or there was a time that I was suicidal, I just began to write. And it just seemed like the world just opened up, and you can use your imagination. And the words, what you're doing is taking what's in your heart and in your head and putting it on paper so that you can see it. And for me, that was kind of my counseling for a while.
It is, writing definitely is therapy. It is something that I instruct my clients, my patients to do. Journaling allows you, and especially when you do freestyle, which is what I suggest. Don't worry about the commas and the other punctuations or capitalization or any of that. Just get what's in your head onto that piece of paper and just have the release of it all. And it really and truly can be something that is just totally freeing and liberating. Well, listeners, we need to take a very short break, but when we get back, don't worry, we're going to talk more about From the Situation to the Destination by Leslie Dillard. We'll be back right after this. And we are back. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Modern Living with Dr. Angela. I'm your host, Dr. Angela Chester. Today, our guest is author Leslie Dillard, and she has written the beautiful book of From the Situation to the Destination. It is a collection of poems, and yes, it is available on Amazon. Now, when you take a look at the table of contents. And, we won't have too many spoilers or anything because we want you to pick up your copy, of course. There's a little bit of everything. You see the words or the titles of the poems that say peace, rest in me, cast your cares on him while you are in it, giants, my refuge. These are all such, to me, wonderful titles. And then they also, go on and talk about emotions that we feel called, change and anger. Why me? And life happens. And let me tell you, as a cancer survivor, you go a roundabout with things like that. And why did it happen to me? Or if we've lost someone, especially if it was an accidental death, why did that happen? Or if we're hitting our heads up against the wall and it's time for change, all of those things sound so appropriate and so needed. Now, Leslie, and I know that you don't have very much time to spend with us today, but when someone picks up a copy of your book, what are one or two things that you want them to take away from having read your poetry?
Well, I pray that it moves them. If they're going through something, for instance, why me all the time, even though I have I'd like to say a pretty mature relationship with Christ. But when things happen, we get sucked into the situation that we forget where God is trying to take us or the destination. And so when someone reads this poetry, I want them to be able to select whatever is ailing them, whether it be the question, why me? Lord, why is this happening to me? I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. I'm relying on you, and bam. And after they read through the poem and just meditate on it a moment, for me, God has a way of just kind of soothing us and easing that pain and easing our mind. And if you are a Christian, you'll hear his voice. I guarantee you will hear his voice, and he will speak to you. So I think that this book is just an opportunity for folks to kind of identify, wow, there's somebody out there that feels the same way I do. Because sometimes we feel like we're the only one that's ever gone through this. Even though in our minds we know out of the billions of people across the world, somebody has had to experience the same thing that we're going through. And this book just kind of identifies, hey, Leslie's gone through it. I made it through, but this is how I made it through. And this is what I was feeling at that moment.
It's so important that you do make that connection. And thank you for saying that, for, speaking that, because someone needed to hear it. Hey, you're not alone. You're not the only one who's gone through this, but not from that point of view, but others have gone through it, and look at how successful we are on the other side. If I can, you can as well. And I'm here to encourage you, to uplift you, and let you know that you can come through it. Maybe a little bumped and bruised, but you do come through it successfully on the other end.
Absolutely. And if you're looking at the cover of the book, you see a road, and there's storm clouds in the forefront, but beyond the storm cloud, you can see the sun shining through. And so in my life, I've been able to weather the storm with God's help, and then the people that he has surrounded me with. And you do finally get to that sunshine, and it's like, wow, God, all of that, and I'm a better person, I'm a wiser person, and I know how to deal with these situations a little differently now. Understanding that we are here to help each other. So if my witness can help someone get through what they're going through, I tell you, that's what makes this book, that's the purpose. That's my purpose, is to help others get to their destination.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Leslie, for spending time with us and, sharing this wonderful book that you have made available to everyone. How can everyone get in contact with you?
Well, they can go to my webpage, which is godfirstproductions.com.
Okay. All right.
Or they
Thank
can,
you so.
or,
No,
or
go
they
ahead.
can. Or they can get me via email as well. godfirstprod PROD LLC @gmail.com. Either way.
Okay. Well, listeners, thank you so much for listening in and sharing this time with us with author Leslie Dillard. From the situation to the destination, pick up your copy. And as always, may the Lord continue to shine his face upon you. May his grace and mercy always be with you. And until next time, go and be blessed. Bye-bye.